Hey there, how's it going? Adrienne Lee's here, just checking in about what's going on out there on the planets and stars. Well, big deal today, right? Mercury has turned direct early in the morning in Mountain Time, Western US this morning. So we're feeling the energy start to move, this direct motion, but very unique, very interesting. The exact degree that Mercury turns direct at is the degree that Neptune is at in Pisces. So it's quite a journey, and it's an interesting energy with our conceptual reality, which is Mercury, in conjunction with Neptune, which is just like this big ocean of experience, the oneness, the collective, the source of life, all at one principle. And so it's not a time that things are really going to make sense. Like we have some forward motion, but what that's bringing is it's bringing this kind of cleansing crisis for a lot of people. It's a little bit glitchy. It's kind of like, okay, well, as long as Mercury was retrograde, it's kind of okay. Well, these things are coming up, but they're just kind of wallowing in them. And now it's like, boom, got to move, you know? And so there's a lot of energy of like a physical or emotional or spiritual healing crisis where things start to move. It's kind of like, you know, you're stuck in the mud. And as you go to get out of the mud, that motion slings mud everywhere, right? That's kind of what's going on right now. And with Mercury and Neptune, you know, so we have that motion and things are moving, but we don't have any clarity yet. Right. And that's kind of a really important, helpful thing to know, that we're just kind of floating along in the sea of confusion continually. This is like the apex of the energy. Even though Mercury's direct, it might be almost more because Mercury is direct. And so know that, and that you're trying to figure out your life and what to do next and who you are and where you're going is not going to work right now. There's major reprogramming and resetting going on in our DNA and our whole reality right now. And our little conceptual brain is not able to direct our life right now. And so it's a really good time, though, to dream and vision, but just stay in the broad, you know, stay in the vibration of what you want your life to be, and let yourself imagine a better life. Okay, so now yesterday, Venus went into Pisces. Okay, so now we've got Venus and Mercury and Neptune together in Pisces. The sun has moved into Aries. So we've got a little bit more fire energy to go with our water. But this Venus represents our self-worth and our deepest desires and whether or not we feel like we deserve them. And so right now we're kind of coming up against this, like, okay, yeah, dream and vision, but that's not possible. It'll never work for me. Maybe everybody else could have their dream, but I don't get to. And this is deep woundedness in the feminine part of all of us, from past lives and programming and ancestral belief systems, societal belief systems that, you know, you don't deserve. You have to prove yourself. You have to work hard. You have to earn it. You have to go through a bunch of crap. You have to, you know, learn more stuff. You have to get more degrees. You have to, you know, prove yourself to the man out there that you're worthy. And the deal is that underneath all of this, it's like we do have this opportunity to connect with this cosmic source energy, and it's what we're made out of. We don't need to do, nothing is required to connect with the truth of who we are. And so, but deep wounds are coming up around whether or not we deserve a better life, whether or not, so programming and karmic situations from the past have convinced us that we have to do something to redeem ourselves. But the truth is, especially with light worker souls, like, you came into this earth evolution as a volunteer to be here and to have your own karmic growth as well. But like, you are already a spiritual initiate. You've already gone through spiritual ascension. You've already attained this thing. This is a purity of soul. It can be covered up. It can be misconstrued. It can be, you know, tainted in a way, but it can't actually be corrupted. And so that's a really great energy for this Mercury Neptune conjunction. It's like, just be in that presence of the bigness of you and the higher self of you that actually might know what's going on, and try to stay out of the figuring it out right now, or the trying really hard, or the this or the that, you know, just float in the broader, wider perspective. Because what's happening is that Neptune and Pisces have been together for a couple of days already, and they're going to stay together. Now Mercury's turned direct as of this morning, and they're moving together. They're not just conjunct. They're moving together. Epic. This is the first time that Neptune's made it to 17 degrees Pisces. This is a huge energy shift of move. Every time Neptune is such a slow mover, it moves 1 degree. It's like this big deal. And Mercury and Neptune are going together to 17 degrees. And Neptune or Mercury will then, after April 4th is the last day that they're exact. So we've got a whole nother week of this conjunction, and a whole nother week of, even though direct motion is happening, nothing might be making sense. But that time to float and dream and vision and allow yourself vibrationally to move into the new energy. Because what's going on for people right now, it's like the confusion makes it feel like you don't know who you are, where's the ground under my feet, and it makes us cling to the old patterns. And it's kind of like, well, I don't know if I want to risk thinking and changing and moving into this other energy, because it might not work out. Right? And that's this Venus in Pisces. It's kind of like regrets and guilt and stuff from the past. And it's like, it probably won't work out. So I think I'll just stay safe and small. But then we have Pluto in the South Node, and they're going to be exact on the 31st, just a couple of days. And it's like, bam, I mean, we're already feeling this conjunction of Pluto in the South Node, but it's uncomfortable. And it's like, you have to change. Your skin is so tight. Your old way of being in the world is so tight and so uncomfortable that you are forced to release that skin, even though it's what you know. You grew the skin, right? You know, but it's not serving you anymore. It's too small. It's ill-fitting. You know, it's constricting. It's time to, the thing is that when the snake sheds its skin, it can't quite move. This is where we're at right now, right? We're like it's like a slug on the sidewalk, and it's just rained, and the slug is just inundated with water and kind of has to lay there a little bit before it can move. And this is the deal after the snake sheds its skin. It's the most vulnerable, right? Because it's totally new, totally different, and they can't move yet. They're raw, and they're open to predators, right? And so we're kind of all feeling this way right now. And that Pluto, but the Pluto conjunct the South Node is saying, it's going to get so uncomfortable. You don't have to do anything. Nothing's required. It's going to get so uncomfortable. The patterns that need to shift will get so uncomfortable. If you've chosen the spiritual growth path, then, you will not be able to stay in those old patterns. So it's kind of cool. It's like kind of taking off this personal responsibility energy of like, oh, I have to work harder, I have to do better, and being like, oh, here we go, and that's part of the energy of this Mercury retrograde. But we're not going to really feel it until Mercury comes out of its retrograde shadow, which happens on April 17th. The same day Mercury crosses over that Aries point into the sign of Aries. And it's like a brand new start for all of us in our conceptual reality. And then comes into a conjunction with Chiron on the 20th. So the clarity will come around then or after that. And it might feel like, okay, wait, I can feel the ground. I know where I'm going. I know my next step. I have some sort of sense of what's happening. But right now it's a time to float and dream and allow yourself to be in the general, right? Don't go into the specifics because you will drive yourself crazy. So anyway, hang in there. This is such an incredibly potent and powerful time. And remember that when you're feeling that squeeze, it's because you are shifting and changing and you're ultimately getting lighter. But it's really important to know this is something that's been robbed from our reality in a way. And it's metaphorically shown through like Western medicine, where you go and you have a symptom and they strive to remove that symptom, but they're really covering it up and ignoring the deeper issues behind the symptoms. And when you have true cure and true healing in whatever modality, in whatever body, physical, emotional, spiritual, it comes up as it's leaving, right? You feel the symptoms the most as they're leaving your field. And so it's kind of like you're sick with a cold, but before you even get the symptoms is when you're most contagious, right? And then by the time you get the symptoms, you're kind of over it in a way, even though you don't feel good. But the symptoms expressing are a sign of healing and it leaving. So know that what's coming up right now, that's what's going on. It has to bloom to express itself, to know which way to go. You have to go back into the pattern in order to get rid of the pattern. And so the patterns are really big, but they're showing us how to get lighter and freer in our being. So I look forward to seeing you soon. And until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.